good to see you again. Got a big afternoon planned for you before our big party tonight. And I'm joined by the CEO from Trek Bicycles, John Burke.
Thank you for having me.
Sure, happy to be here. Happy to have you here. And the Chief of Human Resources and a whole lot more, Mark Joslyn. Let's give him a warm greeting. So John, just start with you just for a quick one. 7,000 employees, 25 countries. Trek was started by your father and his good friend and partner in 1976, where you had 9 employees, 5 of them were welders, and they built 904 bicycles.
Big year.
So low achiever. So how many bikes will be built in 2022?
You know, I don't count them all, but probably over 2 million.
All right.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
All right. And we're all about mission and purpose here, as you know. Great companies like yours are built on it. Can you let our audience know about the mission of Trek Bicycles?
Yeah, you know, that's a great story. And my father, when he started Trek, he was the money behind Trek. And the business grew for years, and then all of a sudden, the day I joined in 1984, it crashed. And it was the best training that anybody could ever have, because I sat out as a sales rep and I watched the family business crumble. And I learned a lot, but then he came out a year later, he fired all the top managers and he studied the company. He said, we're going to build a quality product at a competitive value and we'll deliver it on time. And that changed the trajectory of the company. It was a great mission statement, but over time it kind of faded away. And then 5 years ago, we got a group of people in my office and we said, you know, he was really smart and he focused on 3 things. And if there were 3 things that we really need to focus on as the mission of this company, what would it be? And it was, we're only going to produce awesome products that we love. We're going to provide incredible hospitality to our customers. And we're going to change the world by getting more people on bikes. That's it. If we do those 3 things, we'll do amazing. And the thing that I'm super proud of, at Trek today, there were thousands of decisions made that went back to that mission. It really is the guiding light for the company.
Powerful. And tell me something about how you got to know Great Place to Work.
How I what?
How you got to know Great Place to Work.
Oh, this is a funny story. So my friend over here, and Mark Joslyn, when Mark came to Trek, he was in charge of HR, and Mark said, we're going to build an awesome bus, that this is going to be a great place. This is way before Great Places to Work. It's going to be a great place for the employees, and we all bought into this, and he had a PowerPoint slide of this super cool school bus, and everybody got excited about it. And one day Mark said to me, he said, today at our meeting, I'm going to have this guy from Great Places to Work. Like, shoot me now. Really? He goes, oh, no, this is going to be really good. I'm like, okay. Do I have to do this? And he's like, yeah, you got to do it. I'm like, okay. So we sit down, and the guy comes in. He's got this PowerPoint deck, and he starts going. And it was even worse than I thought. It was just terrible. And, you know, we're getting to the end, and I'm like, okay, finally, and I'm looking at my watch. And all of a sudden he gets to the slide and he goes, one thing I can tell you for sure is that companies' Great Places to Work score is in direct correlation with their profitability. Really? And he goes to the next slide, and now I'm in the game. I'm like, okay, let's talk. And, you know, he really made his point. It was a really great point. And I just looked at him, I go, we're in. And that started this incredible journey with Great Places to Work. And I can tell you, Great Places to Work has had a massive influence on the culture of Trek. You have a really good program, and we've done an incredible job at executing it. It's made a great difference.
Great. And as you think about your business when you got started with Great Place to Work and your business now, you don't have to reveal any private numbers, but give us some feel financially of the difference between your business then and your business now.
Why, we were probably doing 500 million at the time, and today we're doing 2.5 billion. And that's nice, but I think the really great story is, our Great Places to Work score went from here to here. And exactly what the guy who had that deck that one day, it all came true. Is that as our Great Places to Work score has gone up, so has our profitability. And if you take a look at the key metrics at Trek, one of the absolute key metrics is, what is your Great Place to Work score? And we slice and dice this. We have something called sparkling minibuses, and we divide our business into 750 sparkling minibuses. And for each one of those minibuses, they have a Great Places to Work score. And I can tell you right now, the easiest way to see if you have a leadership problem is a low Great Places to Work score. There is nothing that blinks trouble like a low Great Places to Work score.
Mark, here's something a lot of people want to know. How do you move a CEO, especially like this guy, from point A to point B? Don't want to do something and then they do something because it's a great thing to do for the company.
Well, so you have a choice. You can lead with feelings, and you can say things like feedback is a gift. Maybe, ask nicely and bring a cookie. Or you can come in and say, I have a solution, a tool set that actually aligns with what we're trying to do as an organization. We have a flywheel for our business, like many. It begins with best team on the field. And in this example, there was a tool set with a clear correlation to success and a way that we could use that tool set to help leaders understand exactly what's happening in their business and guide them towards what they can do about it. Better to go with the second approach than the first. Could have led with that part.
Well, say a little bit more about your people strategy and also helping people with the bus analogy.
Yeah, the bus analogy.
Everything in your business has wheels on it.
It does. We are great admirers and students of Jim Collins. And Collins' work that led to Good to Great demonstrated the power of putting people in, finding the right people to begin with, getting them in the right seats, getting them the training, the tools to do the job, but also providing a place where they choose to join and would, more importantly, choose to stay. Yeah. So we put the Midwestern term awesome on a lot of things. So it became right people, right seats, awesome bus. And that's exactly how we talk about it. It's the place that people really want to be a part of. And the tool set has helped us to measure that and define that more effectively.
Nice. John, tell us something about the Montgomery principle.
So I was talking before, it's like we slice and dice the data. And we were taking a look at our distribution centers, and our distribution centers had low Great Places to Work scores. And then we hired this guy, Christian Montgomery, in our West Coast warehouse. And the Great Places to Work score went from something like 58 to 88 in 1 year. It's like, wow. I've never seen anything like that, 30 points in 1 year. And so I'm like, I'm going to go see this guy. So I was out in California, I went by the West Coast warehouse, and I told him, I want to come by and I want to see what the deal is. How did you do this? And he said, he goes, I get there, and he goes, we have a strategy for how we do this, and it's not my responsibility for Great Places to Work, it's all of our responsibility. I'm like, tell me more. He says, we get together as a team twice a month, and we talk about how we're going to make this a great place to work. I'm like, is that cheating? Like, are we going to get in trouble? Are we going to get in trouble with Michael Bush on this? Because this is really asking the people what they want before the test is given. This is like an open book test. And I just thought it was brilliant. And he's like, we had this goal that we wanted to get to a 90, and he goes, we got up to an 88, and we got a cake, and we got, prizes, and we did all this stuff to celebrate. And you walk through that warehouse, and people walk a little higher. And that's what Great Places to Work has done for us, is it's given leaders a tool to create a great place to work which can help them run a better business.
That's great. I love that story.
So,
Oh,
we gave it a name, the Montgomery Principle, because I want everybody at Trek to emulate what Chris has done with the West Coast warehouse.
do you have a statue in his honor yet?
No
Or at least a bike maybe? Or?
No, he's got a big poster up on the wall.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, good. So, Mark, tell us something about the McRaven doctrine
McRaven doctrine
and mediocrity.
and mediocrity. The McRaven doctrine is simple. Set high standards, hold people accountable. No exceptions. And where does it come from? Admiral McRaven is a celebrated leader in the military and also in the academic world. If you have not seen his commencement address called Make Your Bed, just do the search. It'll come up as one of the greatest of all times, and be sure your kids watch that. We had the good privilege to work with Admiral McRaven as part of our leadership programming at Trek and for our partners. And it was really clear. Set high standards, hold people accountable. What do we always hear from Great Place to Work? We hear about instances where the team is saying that a leader is either not living up to the values themselves or where they're not holding others equally accountable. And this idea of having the right people in the right seats sometimes means we get it wrong. And if we ignore that, we don't act on that, we're not living up to Admiral McRaven's great advice. So the tool set, again, provides that smoke detector or early warning sign, but it's then in our responsibility to do something about it.
Nice, very nice. John, there are 6 rules of hospitality at Trek.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm just going to read them, unless you want to say them.
go ahead.
Okay. Make other people's problems your problems. Number 2, be present. Number 3, show people they matter. Number 4, don't worry about being right. Number 5, never miss an opportunity to surprise and delight. Number 6, nobody waits for a beer.
Yeah.
And so I'd like you to comment a little bit on that, but also comment on why you have an in-house expert on garage door openers.
Yeah, the one thing is that we pride ourselves on incredible hospitality. If you take a look at our NPS score at Trek, it's 91, and it's a super high score. Lori Cook, who's in charge of global hospitality, is with us here today. We have an amazing team. Why do we know how to fix garage doors? Because our phone number is almost exactly the same, with the exception of 1 digit, as a garage door company. And people would keep calling Trek to fix their garages. So finally we said, screw it. We'll just take care of the garage door. And we do. Okay, but I really think my favorite, and there's so many great hospitality stories at Trek. We could go on for quite some time, but there was the University of Vermont cycling team, and this was probably 5 years ago, and they were going to the national championships. They shipped their bikes out via FedEx, and they got a phone call 2 days before the race.
They're a
This
customer,
phone
by the
call
way. FedEx. They're a
that-
customer, so go easy on them.
What's that?
They're in the room.
No way.
FedEx.
Oh.
They might remember this story.
Like, what do we? Okay. Well, anyways, so the bikes are being shipped out UPS, and the UPS truck goes on fire, and all the bikes get destroyed. That's what happens. And so the cycling team is at the national championships. They got nothing. And so they called a couple of bike companies. Nobody can help them out. They call Trek at 5:30. And they tell them the story, and they say, we need bikes. Is there any way you can help us out? They're talking to an inside rep who works for somebody, who works for Lori, who works for Lori's assistant. And this kid gets on the phone, calls the West Coast warehouse, orders up 12 expensive mountain bikes, calls a dealer in Idaho, has the bike shipped there, has the dealer stay till 2 in the morning, assembles the bikes, and the next day The University of Vermont cycling team won like 3 national championships.
Yeah.
All because one kid understood the culture of the company was to take care of the customer. That hospitality, we provide incredible hospitality, and that's what he did.
Amazing. Mark, in 2017, Trek hosted the first World Cup cycling race on your home turf, something that hadn't been done before. And you did something that hadn't been done before. Men and women were paid the same amount of prize money. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it happened, and you did the right thing. Round of applause for starting off doing the right thing. Just want to have you comment on that. Again, how you use your values and your mission to make a decision like that, and also what's going on with World Bicycle Relief.
Sure. We had a great opportunity, and it was the right thing to do. And what we're proud of is that that call was made, but more importantly, the governing body has now followed suit and expects that at all of the World Cup races, equal prize money for men and women. So that's the real thing I think to be super proud of. You know, John's parents instilled in him, and as the founder, his dad instilled in all of us, the responsibility to give back. That when you are successful, when you enjoy that, you have an obligation, you have that responsibility, and that's another core part of the Trek DNA. And it really guides us in a lot of decisions. You asked about World Bicycle Relief. The bicycle is a simple solution to the world's problems. John often says that, and we could agree that more people on bikes means good things. It helps with the environment, it helps with congestion, it helps with health. So how do we do that? Unfortunately, almost 1 billion people on the planet do not have access to an easy way to get from point A to point B, paved roads, infrastructure, and they spend a lot of their day walking and as a result have a very small range. World Bicycle Relief has a mission of putting 1 million bicycles in rural communities, dependable, reliable bikes, and in doing so it creates a little microeconomy there for the assembly and the service of those bikes. For $165, we can put a bicycle with a person and change their life forever. So we're partnering with World Bicycle Relief. The goal, as I said, is to put 1 million bikes into rural communities. They have done so with 640,000 bikes. But this fall, we're going to work with them to make that happen on a larger scale. If you want to help, you can visit your Trek retailer anywhere in the US or Canada, and at the store, you can help with that cause. You can do so online on our website starting in November, and we'll match that. Every bike that's donated, we're going to put another bike out into the world. That is an extraordinary way to make change and to get more people on bikes, which goes back to one of the 3 core tenets that John talked about in our mission. We believe that is a good thing to do, and that's one way that we can do it in partnership with World Bicycle Relief.
Awesome. Let's get a round of applause for that. Thank you. So John, Trek, Spirit of Adventure. One of the great adventures that we all need to take is to do things for the climate, make things better. We can't say we care about people if we're not doing things to care about the climate. As you look out, say, in 2030, and you look back, what kinds of things do you feel Trek will do to help us with climate change?
Yeah, I think everything you hear about the climate is undersold. I think we're in much graver danger than anybody thinks. If you really talk to the experts, we have less than 10 years to make a meaningful change. In my opinion, our global leadership has failed us. We're not moving nearly fast enough. And so I think what Trek can do is Trek can move fast and Trek can be an example. Last year we published a sustainability report, all the things that Trek is doing. This year we'll publish another report, which is going to take a look at some brutal realities. We have a lot of work to do. But I can tell you that at the highest level at Trek, we're thinking it through. We're putting in place a number of strategies that are going to significantly reduce our footprint. We're going to be super creative about it. And I think that the biggest thing we can do is be an example for other people in the bicycle industry, but more importantly, we can be an example for other companies. there's an incredible documentary out called Above and Beyond. It's by Rory Kennedy, and she went to do a documentary on NASA as a tribute to her uncle, President Kennedy. And she does this, and that's like the first quarter of the documentary. And then what she finds out is that NASA knows more about the health of the planet Earth, than anybody else. And so it really focuses on what's going on Earth, and it's some pretty scary stuff. So to me, I always look at Trek in terms of 100 years. And one of the things I hope that we can accomplish is I hope that we can be an example.
Nice. Thank you. Two final questions
Yeah.
for you, John. Number one, who builds the best bikes in the world?
Well, we try and do that every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number two, why do you call Mark Ted Lasso?
Well, you know, that show came out a couple years ago, and people say, have you seen Ted Lasso? I'm like, have not seen Ted Lasso. Like, you got to watch Ted Lasso. Joslyn's in it. Like, what are you talking about? So I flip on Ted Lasso, and we're like 5 minutes into it, and I'm like, he's Ted Lasso. So I said to him, I go, Mark, are you Ted Lasso? And he goes, you know what? He goes, I'm watching that show with my kids, and we get to the end, and they all look at me, and they go, Dad, you're just like Ted Lasso. And so Mark has this kind of folksy way about him, and he's got an incredible humility, and he teaches through example, and he's just a genuinely really good person. And so nobody calls him Mark anymore. At least I don't. I mean, I always call him Ted or Teddy. You know, it kind of depends on what the day is.
Well, John and Ted, thank you very much. Let's have a warm welcome and thank
All right.
you to these two great leaders.